Greetings everyone, my name is FlareBlitzed and welcome back to Chemically Bonded. Let's see what Kyoko's finished. Kyoko, tossing her pets to the side, finishes jolting down the results of our experiment.
There's no anomalous data either. We did really good.
You did really well. Go us?
Yeah, go us.
From my discussion with Naomi, seeing her like this truly puts the meaning of their happiness into perspective. Undoubtedly, Kyoko is hurt over the bonds she once held with Naomi, but it'd be hard to call her sad in this situation. For me to be so ingrained into the lives of these two girls in only a mere 5 days, it feels weird. But anything else will feel weirder. It's just something I'll have to accept. Being here, though, is something I truly do desire. There's a lot more behind the covers that needs to be addressed before we can move forward. The two of them trapped by their own memories of one another. My place in this, despite unclear, will soon be revealed as the two of them begin to open their hearts. What? As soon as I can heal their bonds, yeah? As I watch Kyoko tidy up the equipment, all I could do is smile. If there's one thing I can say, it's that I truly am glad I've gotten to know her. You need any help?
It's okay. You don't need to do anything. Really.
Really? Aww.
Just being a member makes me happy.
Hearing that from her, a girl I'd once assumed to be reserved and shy, is truly a sign of how fast things can change. How we appreciate one another. I couldn't ask for anything else. You don't say. Please, I want you to help me. Naomi. There's always more layers to a story than that's on the surface, but initial assumptions, gosh. Act 2. Chasing Futures. Is that how you greet everyone that you come across, by strangling them with their ties? No thanks. On a train. Welcome to the club, Act 1 completed. Passing my eyes in a flash, the building in the distance move one by one through my vision. I watch them. In a state close to tranquility, the train rocking slowly from side to side, screeching as it closes in on another stop. Sparing myself a long walk home isn't a bad treat from time to time. After a busy week, the room for thought is a bonus too. Here I am mulling over a relationship with two girls I've really only just met. All I could do is bask in the glistening sunlight hitting me through the windows of this small metal box and reflect on the challenges now before me. Despite these challenges, putting myself out for them is ultimately the choice I chose to make. Being privy to their sadness was enough to rope me in, enough to call out to my heart. Bearing witness to Kyoko's inner sadness, her scarred history, not wanting to be there for her would ultimately be wrong. From joining the science club, a cheerful smile I've gotten to know is one I want to protect, even if it's from herself. Fixing the past with Naomi, getting them to understand one another. It's not going to be easy. Not an easy task indeed, my friend. Still, for Kyoko, being able to bring her happiness should be enough in return for what she's given me. Sincerity. That and a friend. After only a couple of days, it's weird enough to say she means a lot to me, but I don't see it any differently. Continuing on its journey, the carriage rocks once more as commuters finish boarding and the doors close tightly behind them. Standing up, I move towards the door, ready to get off at the next stop. It's pedantic, but being able to leave before everyone else is a routine I've ingrained within my mind. A mind currently preoccupied with thoughts of schoolgirls wearing thigh highs and sports shorts. Spending time with them has really gotten to me. Fan service aside, yeah, I thought that was going along that track. Speaking of tracks on a train, the path of healing their bonds is shrouded by the hardship of confusion and lack of knowledge. To get them close to one another, perhaps it's up to me to get closer to them. without fully knowing what happened or anything about them. Being able to make them friends again is a task beyond my capabilities. But I'm willing to give it a try. It all starts with opening up to one another. I'm going to have to talk to them, slowing once more with a loud screech. The train pulls in at my stop with the usual glimpse of people idling at the platform. Something to say that we're not the only ones with thoughts or problems. We all have lives to be getting on with. We all have complications to face with every day. Arriving through the doors to my room, the evening light greets me. As I start my routine in the usual style of tossing my bag onto my bed, it could be considered boring, but recent events have given me enough to focus on besides wasting my time away online or play. Hey now, I'm not wasting time playing visual novels, thank you very much. How dare you? Dust floats around the room, sparking at the tip of sunlight, a sign that really lounging around in my room is eventful. Lounge in the room, sir. Having made manifest the ties between Naomi and Kyoko, their connected past, all that needs to be done is to follow through on my promise. Your promise?
Please. I want you to help me.
And once I do help you, you're just gonna forget my existence because of Kyoko, your once upon a time best friend. I'd rather just stick to this bun, thanks.
Not these. These are mine. I want you to help with Kyoko.
Looking back on the day's events, the emotion flowing from Naomi's eyes was enough to sell her sincerity. A lonely girl, someone out of place. Maybe I'd misjudged her. Oh really? After being strangled, you misjudged her? Not far from it, but yeah. Not 100%, but definitely not below 50%. Coming to me for help. It really goes to show how much she cares about Kyoko. To learn about their past means being a part of their future. Whether they like it or not, I'm going to have to truly get to know them. As much as Naomi wants me to convince Kyoko to befriend her again, getting her to accept her own mistakes is another part of the challenge, yeah. Spending time with them is really the only way to do it. It's not like I can complain though. Hanging around with... okay. Yeah, might be every guy's dream. Or some guys' dream anyways. Being a member of a science club helps. And it's not as if Naomi is going to be too hostile as she actually wants me to cooperate. Each to their own, that's what I'm going to say. If you swing one way, then that's perfectly fine. If you swing the other way, then that's perfectly fine. Each to their own. Now probably is the best time to get in touch with one of them. I can imagine the choice is right before my eyes. Kyoko or Naomi? Kyoko or Naomi? Maybe I do spend too much time playing visual novels. I should probably call Kyoko. Ah, dearie me. Sliding my hand down to my pocket, my fingers clutched tightly at my phone in lieu of the usual symptoms of nervousness. It's not like there's anything to worry about. Despite not knowing Kyoko for long, it's hard to say I'm not on good enough terms to call her. Inviting her out, though? That, of course, is something different. The strong heartbeat piercing through my chest is enough to make that apparent. All I can do is embrace the chance of my own breath against the core of daily life in motion beyond the glass plane before me. An indecipherable melody. If it'll make her happy, if it'll make them happy, I have to do this. With what tomorrow brings Saturday, it wouldn't be odd for two friends to hang out together. I might not be as smart as Kyoko, but for me overthinking things isn't much of an issue. Focusing on the screen before me, my eyes stay glued on the call button. Now's the time to do this. Now's the time for a save. I will call. If I don't call her, all I'd be doing is wasting my time procrastinating. Whatever she's up to, I'm sure she'd be happy to talk to me. Call Kyoko. Or in brackets, Naomi. Now I wonder why Naomi is in brackets. Nah. I'm gonna go with the heart. Lifting my finger away from the screen, ringing meets my ears as my phone lightly touches the tip of my ear, brushing hair aside. Like, in the first time I play a visual novel, I go with my gut feeling and do what if I was in that scenario. So if I was the protagonist, I would be selecting the choices based upon what I would do if these kind of scenarios were canonical to my own life. So it's like, I may not make what you would call the best choice or the choice that balances the two, but I go with what my heart tells me when it comes to this sort of scenario. Like, you can reflect this upon your own life. Lifting my finger away from the screen okay, I've already said that. The resonance of my own breathing soon to meet, greeted in sync with the light puffs from Kyoko on the other end of the line. An oddly cute sound, but it's not as if it's the only thing strange about her. Strange enough to keep me captivated. Naomi still retains strong feelings towards Kyoko. All I have to do is find out what she thinks in return. Hard to do, knowing she's probably sitting there with an adorable grin waiting for me to speak up.
Hello.
Hello there, how are we doing today? Kyoko opens with her typical enthusiastic demeanour. Maybe my guess from before wasn't too far off. Hey Kyoko! As far as awkward greetings go, I could at least do worse than that.
Have you finally decided what your favorite element is?
No, there's another question that revolves a more friendly kind of element that people share. It's a clay. Clay's not even an element, but really, that's not important.
What?
Maybe calling science unimportant wasn't a great idea in hindsight.
Clay isn't an element. It's a mineral. You uninformed individual.
Is that what you call an insult, Kyoko? Because you have to try harder than that. Unlike Naomi, Kyoko doesn't seem to want to go as far as calling me an idiot. Yeah, exactly. Coming from her, though, wouldn't be an inappropriate thing to say. She's on another level, another plane. Well, you'll have to give me a few lessons next time. From what I call, all they do in class is teach us kid stuff.
What they do?
Granted, to her, it really could be called kid stuff. Having topped professional tests numerous times, I'd be surprised if she actually learned anything by going to school. In a way, I feel sorry for her. It really must be boring. But in the end, maybe that's why she formed the science club. All I can do is feel slightly better knowing that I'm part of her ideal fun. Kyoko's breathing makes its way through the line. Her sounds rest against my ear. She sounds nervous.
Anyway, what are you doing tomorrow?
That's what we're going to ask you. Me?
This isn't a group call, you know.
Mm-hmm. Shockingly enough, the same question has been on both of our minds. Her voice still timid, contrasting what I've known as her usual self. At times like these, maybe I am learning more about the true Kyoko. Having met her in the science club, it's not too far off to suggest that she has in fact been lonely. Ever since she left Naomi, I'm not up to anything.
That's great. It really is. I mean, that's great.
Aside from a shift in enthusiasm, it's not as if there is a difference. Why is that? Are you planning on roping me into some sort of experiment you can't do at school?
No, it's not that. But that's a nice idea. They don't let me bring in the stuff with the red labels on.
Aww. Yeah, it'd be bad if they had your personal safety at heart.
It's fine. I'm an adult. At least in England.
But this isn't England, let alone Wales. From what I've heard, there's a fancy school in Tokyo that teaches their curriculum.
Anyway, you're free to go to the city tomorrow, right? I'm supposed to meet someone.
You're supposed to meet someone? I'm free, but that sounds like something you'd do on your own. Who are you supposed to be meeting?
A friend, at least. I've spoken to her online a bit, and she wants to join the club.
Something's off about this.
We can go shopping for supplies for the club, too.
Passion seeps from her words as they gracefully resonate out of the device placed snugly against my ear. Almost as if she's here now, resting her hands up enthusiastically as she radiates a whimsical sense of cheerfulness. After our talk about Naomi, I've come to know she can't always be this happy. In fact, she really isn't. A friend? I'm guessing she's in one of the classes, and you haven't met her in person yet?
About that. It's not important. What's important is that you're coming, right?
Something still feels incredibly off about this. I feel like Naomi has disguised herself as another person. If she really did have another friend at school, I think I would have known about it. More so, Naomi too. Trying to hide it is suspicious enough, but really I couldn't care all that much. Rather, I'm glad that she hadn't been without one after the incident with the track team. Knowing she's not alone, she wasn't alone, it's relieving. Alright, I'll go. Where do you want to meet?
There's a cafe next to the station. You can't miss it. It's really popular.
Okie dokie.
Anyway, I have to go. Just be sure to be there.
What time? She must have to leave for dinner. That's usually the reason anyway. And be sure to attend the club on Monday too, right?
That's right.
Heck yeah, her characteristic elevated voice seeps out from beside my ear, with the cool glass on the phone screen lightly brushing against the fine strands of hair upon the side of my head. It's a sound I can't say I wouldn't be happy to listen to. It just goes to show how quick we've become friends. I'll see you tomorrow then, Kyoko.
I'll see you tomorrow too.
Okie dokie. The line falls silent, all without the traditional pair of goodbyes. It's not like we need them. The two of us having grown a somewhat abnormal but cherishable friendship, funny for someone I only really began knowing at the start of this week. Knowing that, it makes the situation upon me an even harder challenge to fix the broken bonds between two girls without really having a grasp of who they are themselves. Choosing to spend time with the two of them really can't be that bad of an idea after all. Reaching out towards my desk, phone still in hand, small vibrations chime out from within my hands, enough to startle me. Is this Naomi? Turning the screen towards me, display catches the evening sunlight, glaring in the midst of the dusty air. Looking towards it, what's before my eyes isn't much of a surprise. I thought there was something missing from this. It's the time itself. I forgot, meet me at 10. As much internet as she has, she still leaves out one of the most important parts. Regardless, she wouldn't be such an interesting person if she was that perfect. In a way, her little quirks and features are what truly makes her cute. Indeed. What's important is that you're coming, right? All of these messages are meant to be important, like ones that you are supposed to remember for a future event. Oracion. This must be the cafe or somewhere nearby. Peering up from my phone screen, the morning sun blinds my now lifted eyes as they're caught in the midst of its light. The weather couldn't be more apt from the situation. It's ideal to have a nice day on what will most likely be a nice day. Well, I can agree as well. The UK at the moment is constant sunshine with no rain. Rip plants. Having agreed to meet Kyoko in town is a newfound contrast to my typical schedule for the weekend. If it wasn't for this, I'd probably be asleep right now. Yeah, I'll be starfishing away. Getting invited to spend a day with a girl that I'm only just getting to know is quite a typical experience. You wouldn't expect it to happen, outside of romance novels that is. Still, there's an issue on both our minds that I want to address. For her, mine and Naomi's sake, letting them harbour those feelings isn't what I want to allow myself to do. Passing down the busy urban streets, my eyes dart around looking to spot our agreed rendezvous point. As the urban environment continues to change and adapt, it might be rather difficult to locate where this cafe really is. It's by the station. If it's right next to the station, hopefully I'll find it soon enough. In light of what might actually happen, spending time with Kyoko all amounts to progress. Building that friendship, allowing us to reach the answers we desire in the future. It'll be easier for her to talk about an issue as deep as her relationship with Naomi. Alongside that, I'll finally find out who exactly this so-called friend Kyoko is supposedly going to be meeting is. Honestly, I feel kind of guilty that the fact had surprised me at first, but considering Naomi hadn't let off that possibility of Kyoko knowing anyone else, it's still a little jarring. Speaking to people online as opposed to roping in classmates just go to show that the rumours surrounding her have taken a toll on her social life at school. In a way, I feel sorry for her. Shifting my eyes across the metropolitan span of high-rise buildings and the populated, yet pedestrianised expanse, I catch a glimpse of the very cafe Kyoko was probably on about. Considering it's the only one so close to the station for her to claim you can't miss it, it'd be safe to say that this is the right one. Setting itself on its modern aesthetic, panes of glass catch the sun against the acrylic concrete landscape around it. Nevertheless, it does seem like a rather tranquil place for a coffee, from this distance at least. Moving my way through the bustling crowds of the city centre, I watch people live out their Saturday morning. The sounds of civilization brush against the eardrums of each individual in its grasp. Having been dealt a lot to think about the relationship between Kyoko, Naomi, and even myself, finding myself lost in thought is a hard thing to avoid. Walking over to the cafe only heightens those feelings. Ah, is this the one that Kyoko was going on about? Despite being a Saturday, outside stands a girl adorned in our uniform, her slick golden hair flowing down gracefully as a set of braids, only rocked by a passing breeze. Given her pale complexion and her aloof aura, she doesn't seem to be a local, which only further serves to spark my curiosity. It's not like our school is anything special, even the city itself, enough to spark an interest to a foreign family. Maybe she's from Tokyo. Ignoring her presence for now, I continue on with my search for Kyoko. But maybe because she has a portrait, she is Kyoko's friend. Since the interior of the cafe itself is pretty visible from the outside, it's clear enough that she hasn't arrived yet, or at least I'm missing something here. Despite seeming like a shy girl, Kyoko isn't one to make her presence unknown. Not to me at least. If she was here, I'm sure she'd make that obvious to me for the second I stepped within her view. Most likely she's late, but it's not like I can really blame her for that. Perhaps it wouldn't be such a bad idea to talk to this foreign student, whose eyes are now eerily pointed in my direction. Relying upon Kyoko's undeserved infamy, it wouldn't be a bad shot for a starting point. No, we'll approach her. I think that would be the best idea. Let's not wait around. At the end of the day, all it comes down to is the fact that Kyoko isn't here. Her apathic passion for the day she conveys just about anything is strikingly absent. I wouldn't be surprised if she wandered off into one of the nearby shops scattered around the city centre. Given the details of our talk about Naomi, maybe that in itself has run up a sense of nervousness within her, that I'd approach that topic again. For Kyoko, as far as I've known her, it's something that wouldn't be fitting at first glance, yet the distant look she has had in her eyes during the course of the conversation is enough empirical evidence to show that her dwindled friendship with Naomi still affects her. She still cares. Set out on this fact, I move on towards the stranger, still peering on towards me with a flustered expression. I ignore the fact that she might know me, certainly if she does attend our school. Hey, excuse me. Did you happen to see a girl around here with brown hair and glasses? She's kind of short. I say that because despite Kyoko seeming to be at least average in stature, compared to me and even the girl before me, she's definitely short. Even for a Westerner, the frail girl before my eyes is pretty well built. More than just her height, to say the least.
What?
Yeah? Despite at least appearing to be a foreigner, she responds in surprisingly perfect Japanese. I hear English.
Do you mean Kyoko?
Yes, that's one. Responding timidly with a question of her own, it's no surprise that she knows who she is. Granted, it would be even less surprising to hear more about all the other Kyokos, Kyoko or Kyoko, enrolled alongside us. But the fact is there's only one I'm supposed to be meeting here at this time. You know her? Great. Have you seen her around?
She's supposed to be meeting me here.
Surprise! It's me.
Hi there. You know you're not supposed to say that when covering someone's eyes, right?
I know. Thought I'd change things up a little. Science
Great.
is all about variables, after all.
Thanks. I don't think that science applies much to our scenario, but I'm willing to go along with it. Hello. Well, you sure surprised me.
That was the point.
The braided girl looks upon us with a cute but still somehow strange laugh given the situation. I still don't know who she really is, but I can only guess that this is the girl Kyoko's been speaking with online.
So, this is him.
What? This is me? She's been talking about me?
Why wouldn't I? You're a member of the club.
Aww. Maybe because I'm the only I'm the only other member too, Bearing herself, of course. And what about?
Oh, right. I forgot.
Yes,
This is Carrie.
Carrie. Carrie Dwayne Irwood.
It's nice to meet you.
Likewise. Same here. I haven't seen you around though. What class are you in? For someone Kyoko has only spoken to online, it's hard to think that the two have never spoken at school. Even if she isn't one to go out of her way to speak to people, once she does, she sure is energetic about it.
I'm not.
You're not from our school.
No need to worry about that. Why ask something so trivial?
Isn't science about asking questions?
Kyoko, you should.
Nonsense.
Aww.
I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Anyway, Carrie, just ignore him for now. You're joining the club, right?
Kyoko's voice continues to fill with a distinct sense of nervousness alongside her companion, who continues to peer towards me with embarrassment stretching from one cheek to another in the form of a rosy red blush. Considering this is apparently Kyoko's first meeting in person with Siri, she continues to act with unwavering nonchalance, at least when she isn't trying to dodge in my inquisition, sorry. She doesn't go to our school, does she?
About that.
Unless she's joining soon?
That's right.
That's right. She's here to join the science club.
But I'm not.
Here, as in the middle of the city. Not, you know, at the club room where we would be if she was really joining the club? Why are you going as far as recruiting members who doesn't even enroll with us?
But she said she'd join.
I knew there was something going on here. Her prior expression, one tainted with a pain of anxiety despite stemming from her usual upbeat self, has now shifted into what is either a genuine or mock pout. At this point I can't really tell. Nobody has really shown much interest in the club. Even I couldn't say I was too interested at first. Yet here I am.
You didn't want to join.
Kyoko's eyes shift between Kiri's and mine, filled with an increasingly look of woe. It's clear that she's at least a little upset, no matter how much she exaggerates it. Kyoko, with her intellect, clearly has a reasonable sense of judgment. Somewhere within her, at least. She, as with anyone, would know that getting someone outside of school to join the club would be impossible. Standing here, I can't help but gaze upon the conversation before me. Both girls, embraced by the looming midday sun, try their hardest to resolve what really was a non-issue from the beginning.
That's not what
Scary, right? What exactly did you tell her? Peering away from Kyoko's incessive pouting, Carrie shifts her attention towards me with an oddly fitting blush, despite only being introduced moments ago. With a shade of crimson resting upon her cheeks, I can't help but be reminded of the differences between her and Kyoko's personality. Such a difference really puts into perspective how contrasting Naomi and Kyoko are too, yet the wonder of their friendship still existed. It's something I'd like to know.
I said I'd love to if I went to your school.
Mm-hmm. But you don't. She made you wear that, right?
Hey, you're saying that as if it's a bad thing.
This is not the first time that you've witnessed such a phenomenon, Kyoko, about having clothes swapped for some other reason.
Frankly, I think it looks good on her.
What about the lab coat?
That's a great idea. We'll have to get her one.
A bait fun playing along with Kyoko's jokes is far from fair on the perturbed girl standing before us.
Please,
I can't continue to idle as on as the sheepish girl before me looks either distraught at Kyoko's usual self. That and well, we'd be here all day otherwise. Kyoko, it's not really a nice thing to force someone to wear something they didn't want to.
but...
Her pout continues to deepen further. I can't help but feel that this is her idea of fun outside of a lab, experimenting on her friends instead.
Okay. I'm sorry. That's what you wanted. Right?
Good enough. I'm proud of you. As half-assed as her apology was, dwelling on the situation would only serve to tire me out. Having two girls before me, their hairs blowing in a warm spring breeze in the urban landscape, all I want to do now is continue on with what we're supposed to be doing. A coffee, with two cute girls to show for it. Now, let's go inside, right? Lifting her arms up, a motion filled with excitement, Kyoko leads us on as we make our way inside. Two new friends and a stranger. Pausing my feet inches away from the door, a light tug strikes against my sleeve, all to be accompanied by a faint blush present on a girl's cheek.
Thank you.
What, me? Kyoko sure knows how to pick her friends. Definitely a sense of awkwardness there, but they look happy. Now, hitting the panes beside me, the looming afternoon sun sweeps in through the glass, meeting the trio of us converged around the small coffee table. Time, of course, has passed on. Kyoko and Kiri? Sitting together chatting, I can't help but feel that somehow a similar scenario would have occurred with Naomi in Kiri's shoes. If she were here, I wonder what she'd think. Naomi, a girl seemingly driven on conviction, yet still so sensitive inside. Brushing her bangs aside, Kyoko's parts the silky strands on her hair, lifting up her cup to take another negligible sip of her latte. Compared to the bundle of soda she'd presented me before, watching her drink away as her small lips press against the white ceramic really makes her look sophisticated, as opposed to the usual childish I've been used to expecting.
It's getting late.
It sure is. Is it sunset yet? Besides, I'm glad that she's not totally alone.
Hi, we're supposed to go shopping today.
Aww. Surprise or even shock coats Kyoko's face as she looks onwards towards me, break me away from her trance.
I need to go too. I'm supposed to be having dinner with someone.
Having dinner?
Really? You're not coming with us. But we're like the triple bond in nitrogen.
Stop with the science and just be friendly? I can't say I agree. Carrie doesn't seem like a bad person, but I can't say I have much of a place in their conversations.
I'm sorry, Kyoko. I have to go.
She's very shy.
Well, promise you'll come again.
Kyoko.
It was nice meeting you like this. I'll see you again soon, right?
That's right. I'll see you again too.
Even Kyoko with a faint smile, the braided girl turns her strikingly beautiful face towards me with a look of uneasy embarrassment. Seeing her this close, I can agree with Kyoko that I'd like to see her again too.
Bye.
See you. is either a mix of shyness or a sense of denial. But given her wariness towards me, I can't really tell if she feels the same. Now alone Kyoko, the two of us continue taking brief sips of our drinks, embraced by the silence. For the first time I'm actually alone in the city with a girl. Now, if any, would be a good time to make conversation.
I want you to change her opinion of me, so she'll talk again.
There could be a rabbit hole where we just completely outright ignore Naomi. That in reality is harder than it seems. Nevertheless, I can't help but try to make them happy with each other. Fishing with her hands, Kyoko's eyes shyly peek up towards me, anticipating something to break the ice. Do you normally go to town with friends like this? Despite having only met Carrie in person for the first time. Sari, Carrie? I'm not too sure now. I really do forget the pronunciation of names, I do apologise. The question itself invites deeper discussion into Kyoko's social life. One which has been in turmoil ever since she was kicked out of the track team. But that is something you cannot tell Kyoko at this point in time. Naomi realising the results of her actions. Her cheeks are typically reddened, an odd sight to see on Kyoko's now puffed cheeks.
What do you mean?
Yeah, it's alright. Never mind. Forcing her to answer is really just as hard as asking the question itself.
I used to go with Naomi,
But
things didn't really work out.
now met with saddened eyes, all I can do is tread away from the topic to keep things easy for her. Even if she holds those feelings, the regret itself of her, pushing her towards her past in spite of her future, isn't something I'd like to put pressure on. In time, piece by piece, I'll learn more about the world which once engrossed their lives. I see.
Anyway, I'm feeling pretty tired. We can leave for shopping another day. I don't want to bore you.
You're not boring me anyways.
I really had fun today. I wouldn't want to ruin it.
It's not like she would. Disregarding my lack of scientific knowledge, spending time together is just as fun for me as it is for her. You wouldn't ruin it. After all, this is the science club, right? Even more so, you're a friend.
Thank you.
Seemingly calmer than her usual quirky self, Kyoko settles with an all too cute smile in return. It really suits her.
Anyway, we're going to miss the train. Come on, let's go.
Remarkably, Kyoko takes hold of my hand as... With nothing but a small tug, Kyoko looks upon me with a rosy blush, before softly dropping her hand to the side in realization. We wouldn't want to have to wait, right?
Right.
Ah. I really had fun today. I wouldn't want to ruin it. 7:35 p.m. And here we are again in this abyss. Masked by the expense of darkness, nonetheless. The room around me. Whatever it is, I sit within the silence as I look down at my dimly lit desk. Paper strewn haphazardly with no care for their contents. An ounce of work never to be done. I'm sure it's a sight every student is used to seeing. Well, the ones which are not organised. Surely Kyoko has had a lazy day too, right? No matter how long I mull over the details for, it's still pretty cliche to say that I don't want to do my homework. Relatable. Yesterday, as eventful as any Saturday has ever been, with what hanging out with a girl I just met, doesn't particularly stand out anymore given my now settled relationship with Kyoko and Naomi. Calling myself their friend is not far-fetched, especially if I'm going to be the one who fixes the broken bonds laid strawn between them. That too, another cliche, is just something I'll have to bear with. It isn't my plan to be their knight in shining armour, but with Kyoko herself blocking out Naomi's calls and her too diminishing in confidence to confront her, it's no doubt someone beyond their connections had to get involved. It just so happened to be me. A small gust skirts through the room from my window, flapping about the papers before me as I loosely stare at the video beamed back from my laptop screen. A comedy show, topped up with a class straight man and wise guy routine. It's enough of a distraction, but it's not keeping me interested. Inevitably, my hand stretches out against the dust-filled air towards the phone on my desk, bringing it back through the warm evening light towards my face. As typical as it is for someone my age, captivated by life in the digital world, I can't help but go further. I want to talk to one of them. Whether that's the energetic brunette scientist I've become so accustomed to, or the brash but somewhat cute Sundre have agreed to help out, I wouldn't really mind. Getting the chance to speak to any girl like this on the weekend is a thing to value itself, even in light of yesterday's events. As sad as that may sound, I'm their friend. It's something I want to do. I don't think Naomi calls you her friend, though. More like a means to an end. Leaning my neck backwards against the hard wooden chair behind my back, one of many actions as my body now lays sunken down, further towards the floor in boredom. Yesterday's events, our little cafe visit, all seems like a far distant dream as the evening light hits my eyes, forcing them to close. I can't deny the fact that Kyoko's pretty cute in a casual get-up, but it's not like makes much of a difference to how she normally looks. My mind continues to drift, slowly filling with thoughts of Kyoko, her cheery smile as she idly chatters away, and the sullen eyes she carried as she reminisced the events of her past. These feelings. I didn't know I cared about Kyoko that much, but to know those thoughts exist inside her, the thoughts of regret, it can only spur me on more. As for her friend, Seri, all I can say is that she was pretty cute too. For an average high school lad, I can't say that seeing more of her would be a bad thing. Though Kyoko's actions were pretty reckless, yeah. Pretty reckless indeed.
You really have a lot going on, don't you?
What do you mean? You're a lot more talented than me. You're smart and...
This is a conversation we didn't see.
I didn't mean it like that.
Did you get drunk off of coffee or something?
Why would I? Coffee doesn't contain ethanol. But it does contain hydroxyl groups, I guess.
That was one hell of a day. Regardless, the things inside me now all lead me in the same direction, each one wanting the same thing. I want to learn more about her. Kyoko, a reserved and shy girl, to any old bystander, smashes each and every cliché to bits as she lives on in her world of eccentricity, one which hides her inner sadness. She used to be on the athletics team. She used to be friends with Naomi. It's the past that I want to know, a past she needs to come to terms with. Maybe in a way Naomi can help with that. With my phone screen still before my face, the cool white glow contrasting against the amber shade of light, seeping through against the midst of trees beyond my window, I take the step forward to make the call out to her. Having gotten myself roped into this, the action itself is now trivial as the days have gone on and on. My position ever clearer, having never ever spoken more than a sentence to the two of them throughout my 3 years of high school. Here I am, their friend. Call someone. Oh, you know who I'm going to be calling. No way it's going to be Naomi though. For goodness sakes. I cannot trust her spitefulness. Kyoko. As if beckoning me, Kyoko's name stands out brightly on the screen before my eyes, urging me on to give it her a call. Whether it's her cute and chirpy aura or even her adorable face, I couldn't care. What really matters is that she's my friend, and from joining the science club it's clearer to me than ever that she's in pain, pained by her past with Naomi. In order to truly crack this puzzle, I need to understand that past. I need her to open up to me. After all, the hesitance she carries is only reflected by herself, the mirage surrounding her judgment. Naomi, spearheading the operation to become friends with her again, only carries her own doubts, but for that to really happen I need Kyoko to trust her, trust me. It's only natural to get her to understand Naomi's position, especially when she couldn't do it herself. Having spent time with her yesterday, it's clear enough that Kyoko still harbours feelings towards Naomi. As faint as that response was, teary eyes and shattered words, it's not like they're all there. They're not there, sorry. All she needs is more time to accept them. Continuing to listen to the ringtone as impatience builds up inside me in the form of a heightened pulse and a mild sweat. All I could do is hope Kyoko picks up the line. Whether it's responsibility or the fact I am once again calling a girl in what could be described as a rare moment in my life, I'm nervous. The sound soon quickly fades into breathing, short and raspy, something filled with timidity. Hey Kyoko, you alright?
Yes, I'm fine. Hey!
Didn't expect me, are you? You're supposed to say hey at the start of a greeting, you know.
Of course I do. I was just experimenting. That's what scientists do.
Yep, that sure is.
Why did you call? Did you get an idea for an experiment?
No, I wanted to see how you were. Her voice beams with excitement, as if the idea of science was one of her kinks, even though it probably is. Disregarding the weird thoughts, Kyoko clearly has a history of cherishing her friends. From her history, Naomi, to me, the first and only recruit to the science club. It's not strange to think that she'd hold that with importance, all the more the reason to get closer to her. Why would I?
I thought you were fun.
Hey, I am fun. Is that your idea of a joke?
Well, you don't seem too keen on science. I'll have to teach you harder.
As if her passion itself had seeped through the lines, sorry. My cheeks raised in a smile as I realised that she hasn't actually taught me, well, anything. Besides, it's not like I'm in the club for the science, disregarding the fact that she'd forced me to join with her cute, bewitching nature. At this point, I'm here because I'm her friend. Even if she was about to burst into tears if I refuse. I like her. How about teaching me after school tomorrow then?
Isn't that the point? We're not holding the club during lunch. I'd get hungry.
That's not what I'm suggesting. Though lunch with Kyoko wouldn't actually be that bad. I'd enjoy it. You know, as scientists, we have to do field work sometimes, right? Getting her out of the lab would probably give me a better chance to segue into their relationship. Otherwise, she'd be distracted. It's not like I don't want her to have fun, but I'd probably be safer away from all the Bunsen burners and weird chemicals she'd have up her sleeve.
That's a great idea. I've always wanted to try out my portable science kit.
You have something for any scenario, don't you, Kyoko?
Well, I got it for Christmas when I was 8, but it still work, right?
Why are you telling us that? You're the one who knows about it. I don't think a kid's toy would be all that scientifically accurate. And you haven't used it in the past 10 years?
Why would I when there's a lab at home?
Right. There's that as well. Whoever brought her that present, I'm so sorry. Anyway, I guess it's sorted
We
then.
don't have any chemicals to do stuff at school anyway. How about we go buy some too?
Sure. Another venture to the city. Doesn't sound like a bad idea. Moreover, I like spending time with her outside of school. I could still question the legality of buying this sort of stuff off the street, but I trust her enough to not cause any trouble.
It's fine. I do this all the time. It's as easy as buying chocolate.
I'm sure the customers just know you. The business people just know you on a first name basis. Last time I checked, she had invented a machine which could give her telepathic powers.
Pill, actually.
What?
Sorry, I was talking to my parents.
Right.
Anyway, I have to go.
Okie dokie. That's fine. I'll see you tomorrow then, Kyoko. Maybe it'd be nice to speak with her for a little longer.
I'll see you tomorrow, too.
Mm-hmm. With the fall of silence, I'm left with my phone pressed against my ear as I once again look onwards out the window towards a vivid spring evening. At the end of the day, speaking with her had really cleared my mind of what I need to do now. That bright and happy voice, all of it is a cover, masking the worries piercing her heart. Even if it's hard, I have to bring up a relationship with Naomi. I have to try. Sliding my hand through my hair, all I can do is relax as I sit before my tripped reflection on my computer screen. Looking down my phone screen's remains of my contacts, Kyoko's face standing out as she looks on with the same carefree smile I'm so used to seeing.
I'll send you a picture later so you can add me to yours.
Hey, we could do that. Her chocolate eyes glistening in sunlight above her rosy cheeks as her peachy lips beam brightly with a smile. Seeing her like this, it's hard to think anyone would have a problem with her. Those rumours, the word uttered behind her, were behind back her cheater. I'll see what it is like now. My apologies. As in the sentence, I now know what it all means. As cute as she is, it's even strange to think how important she really has become to me. With her face still lingering on my mind, I rest my phone upon my desk once again, letting out only but a small yawn as the amber sky before me quickly grows a deep shade of blue. I guess it's time to get some rest. A long day ahead, a long challenge, but I can still remain happy knowing that I get to see her once again, Kyoko. You know, as scientists, we have to do fieldwork sometimes, right? Indeed we do. 7:06 AM. Chirping sunlight, cars driving past down the street. The sounds of the morning once again greet me as I slowly rise myself from my heavy slumber. Okay folks, that's going to be it for the moment. Thank you so much for watching. See you all in the next time. Thank you so much and take care of yourselves.